Well, you guys have talked a lot, so I think it's time to make a drink. So
Yeah.
we're gonna make a variation on the Great Knee High, or a Chambord Kamikaze. So instead of, we'll be using vodka, Tito's vodka. Instead of Chambord, we have the generic raspberry liqueur. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds Podcast, hashtag Day Drinking Edition. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the underbelly of the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington, where this space is available for rent. So Joe, before we go drinking and enjoying these libations, tell everyone how we got started.
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page. The purpose was to bring business owners together into a setting where they can feel comfortable to ask questions, share tips on how to maybe grow their business or just other issues that they're having within their business. And because we're a marketing company through Valor Marketing, we get asked a lot of questions outside of just marketing. So we thought, what a better way than to bring on different guest speakers to share tips and their knowledge as far as just business in general.
All right. So we don't really have a topic for today instead of just enjoying each other's company, but we do have two entrepreneurs joining us today. First, Mr. Lando Felix. Lando, can you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
My name is Lando Felix. My company is called Clever Relevance. Pretty much a consultant. My background is in graphic design and fashion design, and I have a history of developed sportswear labels in my past, and I'm just here hanging out.
Awesome. Thanks for coming here. And next we have Janelle. Janelle, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, my name is Janelle Brown. I am the owner of Janelle's Notary Express. I'm a mobile notary, and I also dibble and dabble in bartending, dog walking, and event coordinating.
Awesome. So like we do with any of our guests, we like to get to know them a little bit. So we're gonna ask you guys a couple of questions. So we'll ask the lady first. So since you've had a couple businesses, what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
I would say early lessons learned is to get active on social media. Get on Google, get those Google business pages, start it up, get it all running, because it will help you more than not, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks for taking my advice.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Galen.
And Lando, early lessons learned as an entrepreneur for you? You've had many iterations of
Definitely.
an entrepreneur.
Find the void and secure the trademark.
Awesome.
You get a great idea is only as good as you can market it. So, and I've been down that road where I started a good idea, and then you realize, oh wait, somebody else is using this name.
Right.
And it gets into a nasty other issue. So yeah, find the void, secure the trademark. That's
Joe, next question.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Ooh, the best piece of advice that I have been given, I don't know how to really say it, but it was referencing from another podcast you guys had. So the lady was kind of saying, like, don't think any of your businesses were like failures just because, they're not at a certain level just yet, but think of it as a way, to get to where you were or to where you are today, you had to go through all those other aspects, whether it was a different business, different idea, you had to go through it to get to where you are right now.
Awesome.
So.
I'll answer in a rephrase way. I remember I asked my mentor if he could redo certain things in his life, what would he do? And I think the two tips that he gave me was I would have taken more business law courses, and I would have learned more languages.
Is that the law classes just so you can learn how to protect yourself better?
I guess by default. At the time when I asked, I didn't really understand it, but I think the further along I went into projects, I found myself wanting to know a little bit more. So
right.
I think that's, and so with regards to, I kind of understood what he meant, down the road. And then when it comes to language, especially being in kind of like something fashion driven or product apparel driven, just simply manufacturing and having you're dealing with multiple time zones, you're dealing with people, and yes, helping, knowing another language, knowing a few languages is very helpful in manufacturing anything.
And Joe, our favorite question we like to ask our guests.
Why is marketing important?
marketing is important because I feel like that's how you get a bigger audience. That's how you get, more views. That's how more people get to know you. Marketing, especially in this day and age, marketing I feel like is number one. It's key to expand.
Wow. It's really on the spot. Like he's big.
It's on the spot, but this is the kind of reaction we want.
I'm prepared. I like it raw.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind as far as marketing. Why marketing? I'll break it up in two stages. This I'm going to be dating myself. In an analog era, pre-internet, pre-social media, there were just gatekeepers that controlled access.
So before Xbox, we're talking about Super Nintendo or Atari? That's how far you date yourself?
Maybe not that far
Okay,
back,
all right.
but let's say
ColecoVision, all right.
Let's bring it back down to print media days.
All right.
Newspapers
And things of that nature. And part of my success happened to be working and living in New York, and happening to know certain people kind of at that same peers and colleagues at the same age, who all of a sudden started working for, let's say, music magazines, whether it's the Rolling Stones, the Vibes, Source magazines of that era, working for MTV, and working for the record labels. And me kind of being in a lane of clothing, figuring out how to make clothing, we happen to know those right gatekeepers, which, a lot of that's timing, knowing what to do, and the success.
Right.
But the marketing aspect, that's what kind of raised us from all the other competition.
Help drive the narrative quicker.
So now, fast forward, we're in a social media age where you've got all these ubiquitous platforms that have kind of democratized it. Now we're all kind of even, and so those gatekeepers, all those aren't there, and so now it's a matter of trying to use those avenues. Because now it almost doesn't matter whether you can actually be a manufacturer of something or produce something. Now you're kind of now we're in the world of creating content and getting looks and getting views and getting likes and engagement. And I would also say we're kind of entering kind of like the third phase where people are going to start using AI to start, getting rid of the gatekeepers that exist in the digital space, so that you could be doing it yourself. So let me put the question back on you guys. As you being digital marketers, how do you guys see yourself staying relevant in an AI world? Because I've been thinking about this weeks and weeks right now. Like, I got to get on my tip.
My quick thought is like AI. There's no emotion in AI, so you still need people that are behind the scenes doing the actual work. AI doesn't. Like if you use it to write content, you could put like the tone of voice you want, stuff like that. But besides that, there's no emotions behind AI. AI isn't trained that way yet.
And then what I would add too is you have to meet people where they're looking for you. So you don't know where people are looking for you on this digital search journey. Does it start with a Google search? Does it start with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube video? Because sometimes one thing leads to another thing that you didn't intentionally want to search. So for example, golf clothing, I'm a golfer, right? So I may search something for golf of a course I want to play, or Tiger Woods' new golf brand. And then I get distracted by, this brand looks cool. Then I go down a rabbit hole and then I watch their channel and I engage. Will I buy from them? Maybe not, but now I'm on that path of looking for something golf. Where these other companies do now is just make sure they bombard you with, he's interested, he's a golfer, he's over 50, makes this much money, likes to play golf. We're gonna target him this way. So for marketers, we tell our clients, like, you have to be there in the awareness stage, because that's the first stage. You have to be relevant, they have to remember you. But it's not an easy answer, because you can't do something once. You can't do one campaign once. It has to be like repetition and consistency. That's how a lot of companies, when they do social without any paid advertising, it's consistency, or they have content that they could relate to. So maybe it's hard to answer with one concrete answer.
Right.
But you need to have your feelers out there, is what I would say. And we have Mark in the conversation too. So why is marketing important?
I mean, I've said this before, like, you guys have asked that question numerous times, and it's the same thing.
Different variations.
Different variations. You've got an amazing pizza, but if no one knows about it, how are they going to go and find it? They got to stumble into it. But if you don't tell people about it, I mean, when you start telling people about it, then let's say just that those 10 people have your pizza because they saw it on Instagram or whatever. Then those 10 people, you got to start there, right? The wild card's got to start somewhere. And marketing could mean word of mouth too. There's word of mouth marketing, right? It could be, hey, grandma, auntie, kids, I want you to come in and have this free pizza, and I want you to, whether it be bad or good, tell people that you like it or don't like it, but tell people about it. Because then they're gonna form their decision or whatever, based off of you spreading the word, aka marketing, right?
Right. Let's try something. I want to do a live experiment. Our previous guest was a landscape company, right? So I'll pose this question to you guys. You're homeowners. You have a backyard or front yard that you want completely gutted. You want the backyard of your dreams, whatever that looks like. Tell me how you would go about searching for the right company to hire. Start with you, Lando. I mean, I want to hear your process. Like, okay. I'm going to Google and this is what I'm saying, or this is what I'm typing. Most
or maybe
people
not
talk.
Google.
Maybe or maybe you're not.
Somewhere else.
Yeah. Are you driving around like, you know, by Broadmoor, and you're gonna look at, I like that house. Tell me what your process is, because I'm intrigued to know.
Good question. Seattle's very unique in that every property is very different. You know, and then that's what everybody tells me that isn't from Seattle. They're like, oh my God, you can just walk in the same neighborhood. You can walk in the neighborhood, and each house is different. So yes, definitely walking the neighborhoods. You know, you just can pick and choose, like, oh, I like that style, I like that vibe. I was just driving down maybe 6 blocks from my house. I was like, oh wow, I saw a new retaining wall, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea, you know. And of course, it's me being a creative also. Naturally, I'm just going through Pinterest or, you know, just looking online for ideas, whether it's going through magazines.
Let me throw a curveball at you. Your wife says, I want that retaining wall. How are you looking to get that done? She goes, we have a budget. This is what I want done. You find me someone to do it. How are you getting that done?
Immediately, it's going through the phone, and immediately looking for a homie hookup.
Okay.
Having friends, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
Right.
When you get to be this age, you start calling people, and at least to just get the skinny on how much should I be paying.
Right.
You know, aside from the due diligence of homework and research, and I'm gonna, you know, as far as that type of whole referral system, that's at least gonna land me a guy who knows a guy. And then I'll probably do the outside research of, you know, kind of a blind thing, and ending up, you know, comparing it, maybe getting, you know, doing the whole, what's the process called?
Mystery shopping almost.
Or where you get basically 3 quotes.
Right. And shout out to the O'Day Brotherhood. We have another community that we could tap onto. Class 89, class 91, O'Day represent, right? So, but that's how you do it.
Well, naturally. I mean, that's going to be the brotherhood, like we say, or, you know, and homie hookup, outside research. You know, it's usually friends and family, kind of professional colleagues, and then on the outside if you have to.
Right.
I want to call out the one thing that he said. How much should I be paying? Because in anything that you're looking at, it could be sneakers, could be getting your car fixed.
Right.
Because that's where it starts. Because I don't want to feel, as a consumer, I don't want to feel like, am I getting gypped?
Right.
Or am I ripping off? Is my homie, for one,
ripping me off?
No. Well,
or he's giving me a deal, but he's Is he giving? You're not helping him as a business owner.
Right, exactly. And then is he gonna go turn around and talk shit about me to his wife? Like, man, my boy is not hooking me up. He's asking me for all this stuff, right? We were friends, and now he's asking me to change his oil for $20.
Right.
not knowing how much it costs. So just having an idea, what should I be paying, right? And what is a hookup and what is a good value, you know?
So same question to you. You want to build the backyard of your dreams in your home. Tell me your process of how you go try to get it done.
So I kind of agree the same. So first I would start with family. So the first person I would go to is my dad.
Okay.
I'm going to ask my dad, like, okay, so who do you go to for the fence, the yard? Like, I'm going to go to him first. I'm gonna see what he says, then if not, then I'm gonna trickle down the rabbit hole. You know, I'm gonna go to like maybe my brother, my uncles. I know a lot of homeowners, so I can go to a lot of people in my family first, you know, get a feel, get an idea, and then I would go to colleagues, you know, too, of people that I know, other business owners.
Right.
And then going off like what Mark said, also like I wanna make sure that I am paying, you know, somebody with their work as well. Like I don't just want the homie discount just because I want to make sure like you're getting your money too, you know, we're working together, we're doing this. And then like my last resort would be Google, and I'm all about going through, and I like to read reviews, like 100%. I'm gonna
Thank you for bringing that up.
And I'm going to read reviews, and I'm gonna go through at least 2 or 3, you know, and do some comparisons, read the reviews, because I think reviews don't really lie. Like sometimes they can, but a lot of the times, depending on how many reviews there are, they have to be telling the truth somewhere in there, you know, like in the midst of it all. So Google would be like my last, and I'll go through, I might start local first before I just go like, oh, mainstream, you know, like say for example, like Stanley Steamers, or you know, something like big, you know,
right.
like on the market kind of thing. I'm still gonna go close kept first. And then I would leave it out. I would leave it down to the reviews. Oh, how did my dad feel about this landscaper? Oh, what did my uncle say? Oh, how does my cousin feel? And then now what does Google say? And then I'm gonna take it all, you know, and kind of weigh it all out, and that's how I would come to like my one. Or maybe I'll pick like 2, for example, because it's always all right also to have 2 options. You know, you don't always just want to have that one option. What if they're not available one day and you still need something done? You know, you want that second option that was still good, that still had good reviews, or, you know, good pricing, not too, you know, not lowballing them either, you know, still respectable. So yeah, I think that's how I would go about it. And I trust the judgment of my dad, like 100%. So then I will also double back. Oh, hey, I found on Google, I seen Mark and Jennifer. Tell me what you know about Mark and Jennifer compared to the guy you have right now, Paul, you know, kind of thing. And then I love opinions, because I feel like I give my opinion a lot on other businesses, and it goes a long ways, you know, word of mouth. So I do trust a lot of word of mouth before I just hop on the internet and, you know, see what's on there or see what's on Instagram, you know, kind of thing. I'm gonna go family.
How trustworthy? Because I know there's some folks that are just like, hey, will you just do a quick Google review for me really quick? Like,
I mean, that's very often. I mean, when you're building an online review from the start, a lot of times you do reach out to your employees, your friends and family, hey, can you just go to Google and write a review? Now, what you can use Google for is not just I've used this company, but you can also ask your colleagues to leave a professional review. Because Google doesn't say you cannot do that. So you can go and say, hey, if I'm trying to build my reviews, you can reach out to everyone you've done business with, and that I would start out with the people that are happy with you. Maybe not talk to the people that are not happy with you, but talk to the people that are happy and say, hey, do you mind going to Google and just writing a professional review? Right? But you are correct. There's a lot of unfortunate reviews on Google that are not true. Google does have a system where you can go to, like say there's a negative review, you can report your negative reviews.
Yeah.
You get those replied. We just did that this week for clients where he was like, hey, this review is not even legit. Like, how do I remove it? So on the far right side of the review, there's like 3 dots. Click on it, put report, and then there's like 7 different choices to choose from.
Have you validated? Have you verified?
I mean, the things are more like, this is spam, this is a robot, this is a conflict of interest, and you just pick one that is best with that one. And I mean, this was a law firm, and it was someone who didn't even use their services, but they left a negative review because they called the office and they didn't like how the conversation went. You didn't even hire them based upon the conversation. Maybe it didn't play to your favor, so now you're like, screw that, I'm gonna mess up this guy's business. I'm gonna just leave a negative review. And then you just report it. And then when you report it, humans on Google actually read why you're reporting it.
Yeah.
And within an hour, that review is removed.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good.
Can I add? So when I'm on Google looking, I go to the lowest reviews specifically, but not to just judge like that. But I want to see
Like the one
what
star?
they're saying. I go to it just to see like what are they saying, you know, kind of thing. And then I like decide like, does it seem more biased, you know, like, cause I think that too when I go look on my reviews. I also think like there could be like an upset customer, or maybe somebody who hasn't done much with people before but still wants to leave like a negative review. So I do take that into consideration as well. So I don't go from like the newest review or most relevant. I literally go to like the lowest star, and I'll read like maybe 3 or 4 of them. And then I still might move forward with them, you know, just depending on what it says, because, you know, I do understand that point of view that some people, you know, do just kind of go on there and mess up your Google, you know, algorithm for example and stuff like that. And then, you know, and then if things don't match up also, say people at the department have like different complaints, but say, for example, everything is pointed towards management. Maybe I will kind of look if all 4 of them are talking about one specific person, versus if one person's kind of like, oh, I had load, and another person's kind of like, oh, well, I don't have parking, or somebody's like, well, it's loud. Like, I'm not going to take that as like, oh, like, they're terrible, you know. Yeah, you know, it seems more opinionated, you know, you're able to give them a chance still. But I will say I do go to the lowest review first, because I want to see, because I think of it like that way. People do kind of give reviews like out of spite, you know, versus really feeling like, oh, I didn't get professionalism, or oh, I didn't get service that I asked for, you know, it really comes from like emotions. And I feel like sometimes you can read reviews and you can tell like, oh, that seems more like emotion based and not like oh, we connected and then I got a bad review.
Oh, what's the name? Oh, Karen? Oh,
you know, like certain things.
That Karen.
Just little things like that, you know. Even out of like 1,000 reviews, you know, I'm gonna go to the lowest and just to see like, let's see what they said. You know, are people feeling biased, or you know, or is there some truth to it? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like to look at it from that point of view versus being like, oh, they have 1,000 good reviews. Like, let me see what they said bad really quick, and then I can, you know, gauge from there. Like, because people, you know, they don't tell the truth on Google. I agree, you know.
Right.
You just gotta see. You gotta see what they say.
Well, the angry customer always try to point it their way.
They're trying, exactly. They're trying, like, you know, make it just seem like only like they matter kind of thing, or, you know, like, or since I had this one bad phone call, you know, the whole business is bad, and you can't do that to people. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, you guys have talked a lot, so I think it's time to make a drink. So
Yeah.
we're gonna make a variation of the grape knee-high, or a Chambord kamikaze. So instead of, we'll be using vodka, Tito's vodka. Instead of Chambord, we have the generic raspberry liqueur. Gonna add a little orange liqueur, fresh squeezed lime juice, and some sparkling lychee. So lychee, grape, kind of kamikaze. So we'll see how it goes. First time making this trick, but give it a shot, guys. So, all right.
Kaylin, how long have you been making drinks for?
I don't know, probably 5 years. Before COVID a little bit.
What got you started?
Really what got me started is really COVID kind of set it up. So during COVID, you couldn't go out anywhere. We were doing the podcast in our living rooms. Had to fade myself, nasty ass fades, bushy and everything, all crooked in the back. And I just needed a release, you know. I like cocktails, but I'm not an alcoholic, nothing against, I'm not, you know, I'll day drink like we're doing now. But it's just a passion of mine that I happen to like, and it just kind of spawned itself, started posting stuff on social, and then kind of go from there.
What's your favorite drink to make?
An old-fashioned. So
For those of us who maybe don't drink, what's in an old fashioned?
So an old-fashioned is a classic cocktail, usually with bourbon or rye whiskey, a simple syrup, which is like sugar and water, and some bitters. So bitters are like, which I don't have now, kind of like think of it as an alcoholic seasoning, little spritz of orange slice. So just simple over some ice, ideally a single ice cube. It's kind of alcohol forward, so if you don't like the strong alcohol, it's a pretty alcohol forward drink. So that's kind of my go-to. And I've made variations, you know, with some Filipino stuff. So my go-to cocktail is a pandan old-fashioned.
What are you making right now?
So I'm making a variation of a grape knee-high or a Chambord kamikaze. I'm improvising it. So vodka instead of Chambord, which is grape liqueur, We have raspberry liquor, it's a generic, fresh squeezed lime juice, and some orange liqueur. So instead of this Costco's version of Grand Marnier.
So similar to like a chef or whatever, you just know flavors of your ingredients.
Well, I'm an amateur guy, so I think I know.
Okay.
So it's just something I think I know.
And for someone who bartends, how do you think he's doing?
I think he's doing really good, especially with the colors. I was telling Mark earlier, I'm like, the colors make sense to the drinks that he's making too, like everything like that.
I'm gonna add a little lychee puree to sweeten it, because we have some sweet people in the audience. Janelle, you're in the house, so.
So, anybody that's interested in renting this space. So I've been actually, every time I bring somebody down here for a tour, I'm always like, if you know anybody for your party to bartend, it's so fun for them just to play around and test around. If it's not like...
So before I serve it, I'm gonna test it.
Yeah. So just to have anybody be a bartender would be, right? It's fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun, it is. Because I feel like even like...
Oh, we have a winner, guys. Jeez Louise. You may have to book me just for
And it's
this.
the repetition of it too. The more you make drinks, then the more muscle memory kicks in, and then you're just going.
Word.
That's like people who make drinks at home, like how Galen was saying, like, and now, he's on a roll, kind of thing, just from mixing like at home, for example, or like, a more intimate setting.
Yeah.
And now we could be like, oh, Galen's a bartender, he's over here mixing.
Yeah. It's the life of the party.
All right.
It's fun.
Do you garnish it with anything?
I will. So I'm gonna make it fancy. So I'll top it off here with the sparkling.
Here's Brent's at.
It almost looks like a Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
But Shirley Temple is...
Just needs a cherry.
So normally if I had all my ingredients, I'd probably garnish it with lime and a mint sprig. But
You're so resourceful.
I'm gonna add some citrus similar to what I did with the drink earlier and kind
Flame,
of
though. That's the
flame it up.
Nice summer drink.
flame.
Drop it in, burn some of the oils, get a little smoke action to it. Drop it in. So when you take this sip, I want you to, similar like you do wine tasting, and I'm not a wine guy, but take a whiff, because some of those oils will be expressed into the top of the drink. So as part of the experience, you take your sip and you enhance, that should enhance the experience of the cocktail also.
I got
Mix it up a little bit. I wish I had some orange bitters to top it off, season it up. Oh, sorry about that.
Well, next episode of Day Drinking with Galen is we're gonna have to bring a bunch of stuff.
I'm gonna add a fresh dose of citrus toward the top of your drinks. I'm gonna add a lime wedge, but hey, gotta
You're gonna
deal
get a
with
lot
where you
of
work.
like inquiries to
For the lady first.
carry you in the bar. Wow. Did you know you were gonna day drink today?
I honestly thought I was gonna come.
All right, guys.
I thought I was gonna want you
So
guys.
cheers. Tell me what you
I
think.
guess I'm.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I didn't.
I thought I was gonna be behind the lens.
Bro, this is
But,
tasty.
I thought I was gonna be behind you.
That's-
You can't be behind the lens.
No alcohol.
Day drinking.
Not in front of I didn't think I was gonna be
Money.
You're gonna have to make that one again.
That was a
write
winner.
that one down. actually.
That's a winner.
Yeah.
That's definitely a summertime third cup in, like, oh, I don't even taste alcohol.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm like,
Yeah.
why is he on the front line?
Someone's gonna need to
That's
drive home.
And that's fine in there.
So the lychee though? Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a little sparkling lychee and the lychee puree as a touch. And really, kind of the enhancer is probably the raspberry liqueur. The orange liqueur acts as kind
So
of a
Chambord is a raspberry liqueur.
Correct.
That's the one in the globe.
Correct.
And then you went.
So this is like half the price when you get the Mr. Sachs version at
Okay.
at Total Wine. And this normally is Grand Marnier, but Kirkland's signature brand.
What's your favorite Grand Marnier? What's your favorite vodka to use?
So Grand Marnier, if it's an orange liqueur, I'd probably say Cointreau is what I use. It's a French liqueur also. But Grand Marnier is good, especially if you had Cadillac margaritas.
Oh.
They put a layer of Grand Marnier at the top to like give a kind of a punch.
Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah, and for tequilas, for the previous margarita that we have since finished, I'm a big fan of añejo tequilas, which are kind of like browner, so a little smokier.
Gotcha.
Since I'm a fan of the brown liquor like bourbon, I like the darker, smokier, oak barrel kind of finishes.
More aged.
So, what's your favorite bourbon?
Probably my favorite bourbon right now is a Henry McKenna 10-year. It was like World Whiskey of the Year a couple years ago.
Okay.
Number 2 is probably Old Granddad 100 proof. So this bottled in bond Kentucky proof.
What are we talking price-wise on this bottle?
Henry McKenna is probably a $65, $70 bottle in Washington.
Okay.
Old Granddad's probably like $55.
Okay.
But my favorite liquor now, we said it off camera, is Uncle Nearest.
Uncle what?
Uncle Nearest.
Nearest.
So it's Tennessee whiskey.
Oh.
Probably like $100 a bottle.
Who makes the best? Like, what area of the world?
Well, bourbon Kentucky's known for bourbon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they're known for. It's their process, where it has to be, you see like bottled in bond, so that means it has to be bottled and stored in a warehouse in Kentucky.
Oh.
You know, because you have Tennessee whiskey, can't be called bourbon.
Gotcha.
But you have like Woodinville whiskey bourbon, so they could say bourbon, but official bourbon is like Kentucky.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like you have something called mash bills where they say, are you using more corn or grain? There's like a percentage, are you using more corn or grain? So depending on it will be the flavors, right? Then you age them in oak barrels. So toasted oak barrels, they'll essentially take a flamethrower and char it, because when you char it, it caramelizes and gets kind of that flavor. So if you've had like cedar plank salmon, you're smoking it, but you could taste the cedar from the smoke, right? Well, just think of your aging liquor for like 5 years. It goes in clear, but it comes out brown because of the characteristics of the wood kind of caramelizing and everything. So different, you know, I mean, there's like Pappy Van Winkle, you could spend like thousands for bourbon whiskey, but I'm a budget bourbon guy, so I like good value with stuff.
That's most people.
And I don't like drinking bourbon straight mostly, because I like for me, I like the creativity of making a cocktail. Like making this cocktail was it got me giddy. Like, oh, I'm gonna make something. It's like getting a pile of Legos. Like, what spaceship can I make out of these Legos? I see alcohol like that now.
My wife got me a bottle of Four Roses small batch, and it just went down it was nice. And I don't know if you guys like, on all these amazing movies where they have the guy in the suit and he's got his crystal, you know, right? And there's bourbon in there or whatever, pours it, and it looks so refreshing. And then when you go and have it yourself, you're like, God, it looks so good. And his, like, it really...
So I have a project at home. So usually, like, when you empty a bottle, right, you replace it with your collection. So I have something I saw called an infinity bottle. So with all the bottles of bourbon I've consumed, not a lot, but enough. With each, if it's a little bit, I'll pour it into this my decanter. So like 30 bottles in, I have a full fifth now, from scotch to different things. So it tastes different year to year. So
that actually looked like you had.
What do you do with it?
You just drink it. I don't like to mix it. That's something you drink straight. It wasn't good last year, but this past year was better. I don't know, because it.
Oh, it's every year you.
Well, I usually add. Now I'm at the point where it's like toward the top, so I can't add. I need to drink a little bit.
Backwash bourbon.
So it's almost, but you know, like I have 4 Uncle Nearest pours in there of, you know, like an ounce or something. So there's some good stuff in there. You know,
mixing it all together.
I just mix it, but make sure it's all brown liquor. So I'm not gonna put vodka. I'm not gonna put gin. Everything. Now it's like, because bourbon people like blend stuff. Like Japanese whiskeys are so big now, and they're big because they're so popular because they're good blenders. You know. Because like the Japanese are so meticulous with how they do things and everything, so their product is in demand and overpriced, I think. But
this needs to be called something. It's really
it's a great knee-high, great kamikaze with lychee. We'll figure that out and post it on the channel. Ask for a vote. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
But this is that drink you drink. I'm like, I can't taste anything. And then the third one, you're like,
It's up to you.
You're singing Miley Cyrus on this in like 5 minutes up in here.
We used to call them sipping dominions.
Yeah.
Because you'll be sipping it and eventually.
Yeah.
We have a drink called Sipping Go Naked back in the day, which was those big Gatorade things that you feel at sports events. And you did a case of Bud Light. You would do usually 2/5 of vodka.
What?
And then you would do, like the old frozen cans of lemonade? We used to do like 12 of those. And then just mix it all together and
It's like Spody style and you're just pounding it.
Yep.
No fruit.
Yep, no fruit, and then...
And I love Spodies, but a cool way to say it is it's sangria, because it sounds cooler. But essentially a sangria is a Spody.
Now that is something I know Spodies, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And connecting this back to marketing,
Yeah.
being just West Coast kids, right? Like it's like California cooler culture, Spody culture, and then all of a sudden being dropped in Manhattan. Of course, that's what we did. And we took that into our first gigs, and we would be like mixing up like.
So what would you put it in? Like an igloo cooler?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, right?
Yes. So we could save this for another episode.
Oh, yeah,
We actually
yeah.
make this Spody.
Yeah.
But it's the crazy thing is when someone asks me what's in it, I only know cooler proportions, right?
Right.
I was like, I never really thought
You
about
can't say
making a
0.75 ounce of this, 0.5 ounce of this, 2 dashes of this. You're like, Thunderbird.
Yeah.
You want some Mad Dog 2020 up in here? Okay, none of that. Oh, you're more refined. All right.
That's a hangover.
Or we got smarter in our college days where we Absolute was like premium back in those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, you might be buying like Georgie or Sky or something cheaper. We kept our Absolute bottles.
Oh, and you pour it in there. So when you pour it, you see like, oh, these guys are Sky, but it's Gordon's vodka up in there.
But so many events and so many parties. But we would mix this in our hotel rooms if we're at a trade show.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden invite everybody over and it would be like, wow, everybody get tore the fuck up.
Yeah.
And they would just be walking away like those guys are the most righteous, just
Yeah, they know how to kick
stone
it.
groove walking
Yeah.
around like, and it's just Spody,
Yeah.
One of my business partner, Tony, became known as Spody. That was his New York nickname because he would make Spodies.
And they know him as that guy. Like, where's the stuff? And,
So do you want to go into podcast for Janelle?
yeah.
Aren't you starting a podcast?
Yes.
So I want to know for the audience, what made you come up with your idea and how have you started out making your podcast?
And who gave you the idea to start a podcast?
So Galen gave me the idea to start the podcast. So I always had it in the back of my head, like I wanted to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty popular in the city. People would want to tap in with me. They're already tapped in with my social medias, and I'm like, let me get on the screen, let me get to talking. Because I'm not really like a Facebook Live kind of person. So podcasts seem more appealing to me. Galen came one day, he's like, who wants to start a podcast? I'm like, I do, kind of thing. And then, so then pretty much I felt like starting the podcast for me was I feel like people want to be in my business so bad. Like, it sounds bad, but I feel like the way I'm looking at it, people want to be in my business so bad. People want to know who does my hair, what I do every day, about my kids, everything. So I'm like, well, let me give it to you guys, but on a platform, It's so I can get views from it, and it's not just kind of I'm just kind of talking to you guys, telling you guys my business, and I'm not really expanding off of that.
Right.
Let's make it a business. And I feel like I flourished with that,
So you've already started your podcast?
Yes,
What's
it's called Well, Janelle Said. Because the whole point of that is not to be messy or anything, but it's just kind of people are always since I was a child, it's always well, Janelle said this, well, Janelle said that, and as a business owner already, I'm quick to be oh, Brandy does my hair, or oh, this girl does my lashes, and people take what I say and they go with it, even if it's 6 months later, they'll be oh, didn't you get your lashes done last year by this girl? I went to her yesterday, kind of thing. And I'll be oh yeah, so that kind of aided it too, or starting my event coordinating business. I've seen other small businesses gain more clientele after after, you know, getting a shout out from me, for example, or after coming and collabing with me, and they're kind of like, oh, well, who's that girl that was cooking for you? Or, oh, who's the girl that was making t-shirts? Or who's the guy that was selling the shoes? So then I was like, I need to capitalize off of this, you know. I'm kind of doing this for free, you know, right now. And I'm like, and I can make a brand out of this. So
it's almost like you're using word of mouth marketing and influencer marketing, correct, to grow it.
Exactly. And I wanna like make my influencer side more strong, because I feel like I'm not too predominant on social media.
Right.
People they just like me, you know. It's just kind of been like that since I was like a kid, and I've always been super active. And I was like I could be an influencer, like if I actually posted more or made more videos, or if I was actually more open to not being private, because I am a private person. So I feel like if I was more open to having more control over what I share, then I can flourish, you know, with that, and then I can still have my privacy at the same time. Because like I spoke with Mark about it before, like I was very private about my child, you know, my pregnancy, like everything. And when I finally like posted him, like everybody went crazy. My brother was like, Janelle, you're the Kylie Jenner of Facebook. Like the day I posted my son, like it was so crazy on my Facebook, and I didn't post him until he was 1 year old. So nobody knew I was pregnant, nobody knew I had a baby, nothing. He turned 1, and during COVID, and one day I was just like, I'm about to be like, Happy Mother's Day to myself. And then that's kind of like what happened. I was like, Happy Mother's Day to me, and the Facebook went crazy. Yes.
What platforms do you use to promote your podcast?
I want Instagram to be my main, but I feel like Facebook is going to be like, you know, probably like the largest audience for me. So I feel like Facebook is really public, so I have to kind of get over that aspect of, I don't know who's watching me really, you know, like I can kind of gauge who's watching me and tapping in, but at the same time I know there's a lot more people that are tapped in with me, and I have no idea, you know, whether they like me, whether they don't, whether they're wondering, people who haven't seen me since high school, like, you know, I know that there's still like a larger audience that I can't even see, like a blind audience. So I want Facebook to eventually be like my main, but me being a private person, I'm trying to start with Instagram first, because I know once I do veer off to Facebook, it's just gonna go crazy.
So Mark, as a videographer, what are your thoughts on when you create videos, best platforms to use for someone like starting out, or if they have a podcast? Talk to us about that, since you're our podcast studio. So
yeah, and I deal with, so I have an AAU basketball team, and all them kids, they love Instagram. They also are on TikTok, right? Facebook, they talk smack so much about it.
Because they're like 13 years old.
But the moms and grandmas are on Facebook to follow them.
They're moms and grandmas. So I actually have, I use a tool that feeds all of our posts to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Okay.
So the most popular would be based on the demographic, to be honest. Instagram, I feel like it's a wider footprint today.
Because you told me Instagram owns Facebook now because of Meta or something.
Yes.
So,
but
the metaverse.
The kids don't want to be associated to Facebook at all. And I'm talking kids, even like 20-year-old kids, right?
Correct.
20s, 20 and under, 25 and under. They are like, oh, that's for you guys.
Instagram,
that's for my parents.
Snapchat,
Right? And you know, my mom is on Facebook, Facebook Live all the time, and she gets all of her news from Facebook. I'm like, yo, you gotta stop. Like, that's not all true. Anyways, but depends on the demographic. So, right? If I were to choose one, and if I had to choose one and had to eliminate the rest, it would be Instagram. Yeah, today, right?
What about for your business though?
Well, I'm guessing that it's Instagram because it's in between demographically. Because of the younger consumers, more of a TikTok and then Instagram's kind of right in the middle. You still have people our age that started with Facebook, not wanting to look so irrelevant.
That are on Instagram. So how about your son? You have a young son. When he shops and gets ideas, what platform does he use?
Good question. We're just gonna. This is the summer he's getting a device, right?
Ooh, big! This is a landmark moment.
Yes. This is
and how old is he?
Yes. So he is 12.
Okay, I'm an 11-year-old, so I want to. The dad vibes are.
And just every time it's like, man, it's always like one thing, like, dude, man, I'm gonna get you one when I can call you a responsible young adult. But today you acted like a 6-year-old. So
no. Yeah.
So, and it's like the Apple Watch is there, the device is there, brand new, not even activated. Like once you're there. So the crazy thing is, you know, slowly but surely it's like, okay, you can use our iPad, you can use this, right? You use one of these secondary devices, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic now, just going through parenthood at this stage. My wife started opening up Pandora's box, and now she's letting him use his account for group chats. Ooh. And it's crazy because now it's like, now she's like, wish she didn't do this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, he has an account. You know, like we.
So does he game also then, too?
He is. He's sort of doing it. I'm trying my best to like make sure he has an in real life experience.
Oh, right.
Because you don't have to train this kid to get on a device.
Yeah.
No, that's the learning curve for them is so quick.
You know, so maybe, I don't know, call me a strict parent, but I want to make sure they have the in real life experience and understanding that, because I see when he's like a drone watching YouTube. Don't get me wrong, it has its pros and its cons.
Right. He could be watching soccer drills or
Completely,
whatever.
right? Yo,
So-
he's watching Neymar learning how to make us do sombreros and all these
Yeah.
moves, and he's cooking kids on the pitch, on the futsal court, because he's watching these quick little 10-second videos, right?
Yeah.
And then I find myself watching them too, like, wait a minute, you know?
Send me the highlight again.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I'm not strict, but like conscious. Because there are parents that are unconscious and just say, because when they don't want a parent, they just say, here.
Well, if they don't want a parent, they do like Instagram. They have like an Instagram spam channel for themselves, right? So you may see their Instagram page, but they have a spam account that all their friends have.
Yeah.
The parents see the edited version, and the friends get the unedited version.
Today I gave him, hey, guess what? I'm gonna give you something what we used to call media. It's called a book.
Wow.
You went straight on.
It's called a book.
You gave him an encyclopedia?
No,
So don't Google it. Look it up.
Shoe Dog. It's the story of Phil Knight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's relevant to what he's into, right? You want to learn about kicks and sneakers? Okay.
Yeah.
This is the guy.
Here's the start of this.
You know, and it's a young adult version. So here, roll with that. Tell me all about it. You know, you could just curl up and we went on vacation. I took a book. I said it took me a few days casually having drinks by the pool like this. Jump in the pool, get tired of a few chapters, and I said, you can get through a book. It's like I'm trying to keep my kid slowed down so he can kind of get in touch with reality and just get in touch with long form media.
Right.
Because I'm not going to have to train him for short form media.
No.
You know?
It's already there. Yeah.
That instant gratification and what do you call it? The inability to focus on one thing for a long time. I don't know. Sorry.
Attention span.
Sure. Yes. I had quite a few of these. I realized I would try to sit with my son in a movie or whatever, and he'd already be within maybe like 30 minutes wanting to move on to something else. Back in our days, right, we would be in the movie. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours. And today, I feel like kids are already, it's that 80.
I'm watching a movie with my kid at home, and he's on his iPad watching a movie, and he's saying, Dad, I'm watching the movie. No, you're not. You're watching. Like, I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Because when he games now, he plays like FIFA with his friends.
Yeah.
They're on messaging while they're playing the game, and there's a video on. He has 2 screens, so there's the chat screen, the game screen, and then their
and another like YouTube thing that's on or something.
Yeah, their chat, whatever their chat is.
I thought that was just my kid.
No, and he's 11.
It's the new age.
Wow, it's a thing.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned that too. You know, he was multiple screens or gaming, and
I mean, he still is. He's 21 years old, and he's got his music playing, and he's playing the video game here. He's on chat with someone else there, and he could have the TV going. And I don't understand how you have all this.
Honestly, I feel like multitasking is a bad word too. It's not a good thing.
And I feel like
You're only doing one at a time though. in the day. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I feel like, so my outlook on that, I feel like I was raised differently. So I didn't have a phone until I was like 16 or 17. My dad made me learn math.
You're also
before I learned how to
aged
drive.
significantly younger than a lot of us here.
Yeah, but that's what I was like. But I feel like my upbringing made it different. So like me with my son now, I'm exactly how you guys are with your kids. Like I feel like screen time like that bothers me. It bothers me so much. Like I want him to sit down and open a book, or here let's paint, or let's do something that's not electronic.
Not digital.
Yeah, that's not digital. And he's really smart, like super smart. So it's like how you said, like we have time for that. Like I can always show you how to do that. Like he can play. He's been playing Xbox since he was 3. Like Fortnite, everything.
Yeah.
Like and to me that's crazy. Like it's like absurd. And I've been considering getting him a phone for kindergarten, but I'm like that's crazy. I didn't even have a phone until I was in high school. Like I went all my life, middle school. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't have a phone yet.
But he doesn't, And I'm like, but that's like the new age. Everybody else around me is like, oh well, our kids have phones, and I just think it's absurd. Like I think that is so crazy. Like I went through middle school without a phone, elementary. We had a desktop in my house, so it was monitored. Like I can go on the computer a little bit after school, but I was doing stuff. I was doing other things. I was actually sitting down doing my homework, or I was outside like playing, riding bikes. Going around from like Dimmitt down the hill back up to the grocery outlet, like everything. So I feel like I still have that kind of the old school aspect on the new age kids, just because of how I was raised. Because it was like I didn't need a phone, I was perfectly fine. I was the only friend in my friends group without a phone, and I still made it home on time. My parents always were able to contact me. I knew how to get in touch with my parents. I knew how to read a clock. My dad said be outside at 4:15. I'll be outside at 4:15. Otherwise I'm getting left. And I feel like that was instilled into me, and I'm trying to instill that into my child too. But with all like the new age and everything, the media, the technology, it's hard. It is, especially because it's more common. Like everybody's kids is on the internet. Everybody's kid has an iPad, a tablet, double screens. Watching TV on his tablet, but still doing like other stuff in the house too. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like. And I just can't, I can't get with stuff like that still. Even I'm only 25 and I can't
the new
get
babysitter for parents is what it is.
Yeah. I don't just
put the device in front of them and...
Well, one of my concerns is my kid. I'm worried about my kid getting desensitized.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's one thing to watch these videos, but now just because you've seen it, it doesn't make you an expert on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you know anything about that. Okay, you watch some Red Bull mountain biker.
Right.
It doesn't mean you know how to mountain bike. Doesn't mean you might have seen it. That's about all you can say. I was a participant as a viewer. You know what I mean?
Right.
But don't kind of discount whatever these experts are, or these, don't get me wrong, there's some very talented, accomplished people posting these videos.
Right.
So I have no problem you watching that to find your inspiration so that you can find what you do in real life.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what I'm hoping to do find what you do in real life.
Yeah.
And kind of like make it your own.
And make
Don't
it,
just trust
and
the
make
video
it
you
your
watch like, oh, it's dumb. And then next.
Because there's hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that are like, yeah, I know it. Yeah, whatever. Just kind of like, what's next?
Right.
I'm like, dude, you begged me to take you to Dune. And now you're like,
he has a crush on Zendaya.
It's a 10-hour movie, right?
Well, honestly,
careful
the
what you
fact
wish
that this is a communication piece is completely been lost. Like, my kids don't even respond to text sometimes. And we're just like,
it's a media
I'm
device.
trying to get a hold of you. And that's what this is for. That's why we got this for you, so we can communicate as a family. And if that is if you're unable to do that or use this as that, then why am I paying for this bill?
Right.
A bunch of kids have this unlimited plan too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, they don't know anything about data restriction.
Oh my.
That's a foreign concept to kids. Like,
free after 9 o'clock.
yeah, free after 9 or come on. That is so lost.
I remember using a house phone. I don't even remember texting. You had to call my house. Like we had the answering machine, like my parents knew who was calling me and stuff like that. I wasn't just
Yeah, you caller ID. You didn't do *67 before you called and trying to prank call someone.
No. The most we did was, everybody back then, you probably call 911 when everybody had the the keypad on their phone too, and then you hang up. because I'm the youngest of 4, but I thought that's the most that they would do, but no. And then I didn't watch TV. I wasn't a TV kid either, so all that stuff bothers me, like even with my own kid.
My kid, he finished math camp last week, right? Like, what are we gonna do for the next 2 months, right? So this is where I used the power of AI, and I just was like, give me 100 problems of trying to make change for $100 for buying. I was like.
Oh, you asked that as a prompt.
I started getting creative with prompts, right? And I said, give me 100 sneakers, all under $100. Give me models, give me price numbers, right? Now put those into story prompts, right? Jack went to get
so what? You had like
$29.
Samba classics. You had Samba classics for days.
Right. So I had to up it to $200, right? So I created all these sneakerhead math problems.
That's dope, dude.
And I broke it down to like 10 questions. So now this is Papa math. Yeah. But based around kind of his likes.
Yeah.
So he goes through the math, figures out how to subtract.
Yeah.
I bought a little cash register.
Nice.
With a little bit of cash, and guess what? You're gonna learn how to be a cashier. I know you can do this on a phone, and I know you just.
But I don't want you to do it on the phone.
But you're gonna learn how to count pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, ones, fives, tens.
You got to give 98-cent change. You're gonna pull them 3 pennies out last. So
You're gonna be like, what are these metal things?
yeah.
No, those are coins.
Why are nickels so damn thick? Come on, Dad.
And that's how I taught my son how to tell time. You want to be on my phone so much? So we started with birthdays. I made my passcode, like on the iPad and the phone, his birthday first. Once he mastered it, now you're gonna learn my birthday. And then once we master that, okay, well, you can read, so we're gonna start telling time. So then we start going digital and then to, regular clock frames. And then, it works. You gotta find ways to like take technology and, how they like it and make it like learning for them.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, if I can't get you off my phone, well, we're gonna do your birthday, kind of thing, all the way like from the month down to the year, literally like. And if you can't tell me your birthday, you can't access the phone or you can't access the iPad. Simple. And I started that at like age 3, age 4. And I tell people like, if your kids want to be in your phone or that iPad, teach them their birthday or somebody's birthday or something that's actually like, relevant to their life.
Right.
And now he walks around, Mom, look, my birthday, 04.
Yeah. Don't say it out loud.
We're recording still.
Yeah.
I know.
That's my PayPal pin.
And then it works, in ways like that. Even if I hate him being on the phone, it's like, well, now you know how to tell time. Hey, what time is it? 4:52. Okay, and he just turned 5. Just like that.
So we're at an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, on behalf of our sponsors, Pay Advanced Services and Fuse Networks, my name is Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the underbelly of the Creative Block Studios, which is available for rent. Thank you to our guests on this really impromptu, first of its kind day drinking session, Lando and Janelle. Thanks for watching this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds Podcast. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Until next time. Want a slam dunk space for your next event? We're here at the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington, which is also the Ask Valor Masterminds studio. Great place for product demonstrations, sales trainings. We've had our 100th episode here. Photo shoots, great for photographers, videographers.
I love the idea of having a party. Let's say you have kids and they want to play video games. Come down and rent the studio, $250. You can have a bunch of multiple screens put up in different gaming systems.
And $250 is for the whole day. You have it for a full 9-hour slot. So if you want to, for 2 hours, 4 hours, the full time, $250 flat rate with all the resources available, Wi-Fi, private space, right outside the heart of Seattle. So easy to get to for multiple people coming from all over the place. But what a great promotion. Just to the end of 2024. Check out Creative Block Seattle.